Bloody Russians.
A Russian submarine.
Russia. The Russians are Russian warships.
Russia. Russians are in town.
The Russians are coming! Russian disinformation. Russia.
The old Soviet Union.
In recognizing a communist, physical appearance counts for nothing.
Inside Russia. Inside Russia. Inside Russia. Inside Russia.
Russia.
Russians.
Russians.
Russia. The
Russians are coming!
Russians aren't defeated. They'll go into a NATO country next.
That's shocking.
What do you think is the most important issue on American voters' minds today, Joe? Do you think it's the crumbling infrastructure, the homelessness, out of control rent prices, and declining life expectancy, immigration control, crime? What do you think is the most important thing on every American voter's mind right now?
Well, along with making sure they shop for androgynous clothing, I think all those things stand.
See, that's where you're wrong. The real problem that Americans should worry about.
The Russians aren't defeated. They'll go into a NATO country next.
The Russians are coming!
And they are coming, Joe.
Do not come.
And that should be the most important thing on every American's mind. Because if the Russians stop coming, who are we going to blame everything on? They have to keep on coming.
Right.
Otherwise, all is lost, Joe.
Right, they're Russians.
Hey, Joe, you smell that?
What am I supposed to smell? Obesity?
In today's Health Smart, the CDC has released statistics that show people in more states are larger than ever. Here's how obesity rates looked in 2012. They range from low to moderate, with no states having an obesity rate above 35%. Now fast forward 10 years and the rates skyrocket.
Russia.
No. Communism, Joe. Communism.
That's right. Russians know the color red. Red is communism. Russians had communism. Ergo, Russia is still communism.
That's an interesting thought, but how do you spot a Russian then?
If a person does all these things over a period of time, he must be a communist.
Anyone who likes the color red must be Russian.
Good thinking, Joe.
That's shocking.
Russians are forced to talk about only one thing.
Putin, Medvedev?
And that's how you spot a Russian.
That's shocking.
What about little Russians? Do they exist?
They're born fully grown, Lord of the Rings style.
Great success.
How can you spot many little Russians?
Behind me is not a children's playground, but a training facility, special members only training facility for future Gulag inductees, above which there will be a saying, in the future you'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
If you spot one of these in your country, know there may be Russians around.
Over here, art down a kindergarten.
Well, for the third time this week, the school has either prevented a threat or confiscated a weapon from a student.
It is a growing problem, according to the Indiana School Resource Officer Association.
Lots of kids bring guns to school, not to shoot classmates, but for protection of criminal activity or protection in general. The new Washington Post investigation found a startling number of guns inside our schools.
How else can you spot a Russian, Joe?
If you see a line of people waiting for their ration toilet paper and potatoes, you found yourself some Russians.
Between gas prices and food prices, housing and more, families in Metro Atlanta continue to feel the pinch of those everyday bills.
Yeah, it's just really rough for a lot of people. And Liza Lucas checked in with the Atlanta Community Food Bank. They say the need is leading to longer lines at area food pantries and a need for solutions amid the high demand.
From pounds of potatoes to pallets of rice, the Atlanta Community Food Bank and its partners are distributing more food than ever.
So you think this is ice cream, but it's actually potatoes made to look like ice cream because we're too poor to have real ice cream. What we call it is Potemkin's ice cream. Delicious potatoes.
High five.
That's shocking.
How else can you spot a Russian, Stan?
Well, Joe, we Russians don't smile unless specifically instructed to by the government. So if you spot a person who's not smiling, most likely they're Russian, and they don't smile because they're poor.
But wasn't Russia just moved into the high-income category by the World Bank?
Wait, Jojo, you can't say the truth or any positive things about Russia. That's not democratic.
So if you spot a poor person in your neighborhood, that's a Russian.
It's like a third world country. Look at it. It is. We got to fight with rats, people, It's the struggle.
I'm surprised.
So how else can you spot a Russian, Stan?
Well, if it's a woman, she's gonna smell like potatoes and hard labor.
And men?
Alcohol in prison camps.
The United States has the largest prison population in the world.
All right, go ahead. They love each other.
However, love is not the reason these women are holding on to one another.
It's cold? Yes. I'm surprised.
Got it. And what if I suspect that I'm in a Russian's house, Stan?
You gotta stay away from the plumbing, Joe, because instead of water pipes, they have vodka pipes.
And a new study shows a rise in alcohol-related deaths in the U.S., especially among women.
That's shocking.
So what do we learn today, Joe?
Inside Russia. Inside Russia. Inside Russia.
Well, Stan, I think you're right. I think the most important question for American voters today is the Russians.
Huh. How about that? Who would have thought?
Yeah. And I think the best way for people to keep up with this is to follow your channel, sfilinom, on YouTube.
And follow your channel, Expat American, also on YouTube. For now.
For now.
For now, Joe. So we getting deleted, Joe?
Yeah, we're getting deleted.
The Russians are coming.
Do not come.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna come.
Don't come here.
That's shocking.